Iranian civilian bridge attacked, resulting in heavy casualties.
Vietnam launches program to attract foreign, overseas Vietnamese scholars.
The potential for cultural industry development in Nghe An.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news by Nghe An Press and Broadcasting Agency. I'm Hoàng Yên, and here we go, the first step of the show. Iran state news agency IRNA just reports that at least 8 civilians were killed and 95 others injured in airstrikes conducted by the US and Israel, targeting a highway bridge connecting the Tehran capital to the city of Karaj.
The target of the attack was the B1 bridge in Karaj, the capital of Alborz province. It is one of the tallest bridges in the Middle East and a vital infrastructure project for Iran. The bridge was hit by missiles twice in a single day. In a post on the social media platform X, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned the attack, asserting that strikes on civilian structures would not force the Iranian people to surrender. According to Israeli officials, the current offensive operations aim to degrade Iran's missile capabilities, command structures, and the financial resources used for military activities. These latest developments indicate that the conflict in the Middle East continues to escalate, raising the risk of a prolonged and widening war across the region.
On April 2nd, hundreds of Cubans gathered in front of the U.S. Embassy in Havana to take part in a protest involving bicycles and electric vehicles. Protesters waved flags and displayed banners demanding an end to decades-long trade embargo.
Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel was present to greet the demonstrators before the caravan began its march along the capital's famous Malecon Seaside Boulevard. The crowd used bicycles and electric cargo trikes, 2 types of vehicles that have become increasingly popular amid fuel shortages, to parade through the central streets. The protest took place as the U.S. administration under President Donald Trump ramped up pressure on the Cuban government, imposing an oil blockade starting in January of this year and repeatedly mentioning the possibility of intervention on the island. The U.S. trade embargo has been in place since 1962. And the Cuban government maintains it is the primary cause of the country's long-standing economic hardships.
Vietnamese Prime Minister has signed decision number 530 approving a national program to attract foreign experts and overseas Vietnamese scholars to teach, conduct research, and work at Vietnam's higher education and vocational training institution.
The program aims to develop and effectively implement breakthrough mechanisms and policies to recruit, utilize high-caliber international and talent. It is expected to strengthen the country's science and technology capacity, and promote international integration in education and research. The initiative also contributes to Vietnam's goal of bringing its education system to an advanced regional and global level by 2035. By 2035, Vietnam targets the recruitment of at least 30 outstanding experts and scientists capable of leading and spearheading key tasks that generate breakthroughs in education, training, scientific research and technology transfer, particularly in strategic and core technologies.
Upcoming are some updated news.
According to a report at the Provincial Party Standing Committee meeting on the morning of April 3, the Gross Regional Domestic Product (GRDP) growth rate of Nghe An province for the first quarter of 2026 is estimated at 8.15%. State budget revenue for quarter 1 reached 8,710 billion Vietnamese dongs, accounting for 37.3% of the estimate and representing a 34.2% increase compared to the same period. Total newly registered and adjusted investment capital reached nearly 65,000 billion Vietnamese dongs. Notably, the province has approved the investment policy and designated the investor for the Queen Lap LNG thermal power plant project with a total investment of over 59,000 billion Vietnamese dongs. The Provincial Party Committee requested all sectors and localities to implement the established tasks, focusing on achieving the targets for the second quarter and the first half of the year.
After several years of construction, the 67.5 kilometers coastal road passing through Nghe An province connecting Ghi Son, Thanh Hoa, to the Cua Hoi Bridge, Ha Tin, is now substantially complete. The project has a total investment of over 4,650 billion Vietnamese dongs. With Phase 2 commencing in February 2022 at a construction cost exceeding 3,200 billion Vietnamese dongs. As a key infrastructure project, it plays a vital role in completing the coastal transport network for both the province and the nation. The route not only facilitates seamless connectivity between key economic zones from Thanh Hoa to Nghe An but also creates a powerful impetus for local socio-economic and tourism development.
The Quality Control Department of the Ministry of Education and Training has announced the results of the 2026 Olympic Team Selection Contest. Notably, Nguyen Hoang Phuong, an 11th grade student from Class 11A1 at Phan Boi Chau Gifted High School, has successfully secured a spot on the Vietnamese national team for the International Mathematical Olympiad. The competition is scheduled to take place in China this July. In the preliminary selection round, which featured 50 top contestants, Nguyen Hoang Phuong scored 38 points after 2 rounds of testing, ranking second only to Pham Dang Nguyen from the Hanoi, who scored 42 points. This marks the second consecutive year that a student from Phan Boi Chau Gifted High School has been selected for the Vietnam International Mathematical Olympiad team.
Resolution 80 of Politburo, issued on January 7, 2026, just marks the first time culture has been placed in an organic relationship with the economy, the market, and cultural industries. In Nghệ An, a place where unique cultural values converge, the question remains, have we fully awakened this potential to transform it into wealth and driving force for growth? More in the story today.
Nghe An province is currently home to over 2,000 relics, including 4 special national heritage sites. Among them, the Kim Leen Special National Monument serves as the symbolic core of both history and tourism. Complementing these sites is VGM folk singing, which was inscribed by UNESCO in 2014. This is a raw material mine for developing the cultural industry in accordance with the spirit of Resolution 80.
The Kim Leen site is currently developing in-depth cultural and historical experiences tailored to diverse audiences, particularly the younger generations.
If we focus solely on preservation, VGM remains a heritage. However, when integrated into regular performances, singing workshops, podcasts, creative music tracks, and festivals, it transforms into a cultural commodity. The key priority here is the transition from spiritual value to a revenue model.
We will develop market-oriented performance programs, such as real scene and semi-real scene shows, folk operas, and digital media channels to reach younger audiences and international tourists.
From folk verses to creative products rooted in local identity, Nghe An possesses truly unique potential. However, these cultural values only realize their full worth when harnessed through the lens of an economic mindset. The synergy between heritage, technology, and economics will undoubtedly create cultural industry products that attract both tourists and corporate investment. When culture becomes a product and that product enters the market, every element of identity is not only preserved but also generates growth. This is precisely the path for the cultural industry to become a new engine of development for Nghe An.
The last story just ended our news today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now.